All right, hi, this is Attican, and welcome to Series 4, Episode 11 of Manor Lords, as we're doing the Steam achievement called Challenge Accepted, and we have to win Restoring the Peace with the challenging preset difficulty. So we've got 3 regions right now. We've got New Slow, we've got Emmenruth, we've got Waldbrand in the center of the map, and we are trying to develop all 3 concurrently. So the plan for this episode is to continue aggressively growing all 3 of our existing regions and expand to a 4th region, Eichenau, and start aggressively growing it. And that'll probably get us through this. That'll easily get us through this episode. And overall, our plan is to just keep doing that. Rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, and keep growing good-sized villages all across the map. Keep growing a bigger and bigger military, bigger and bigger economy, all that good stuff. And just see how far we can take this by following a method where we set up some projects, construction projects for each of the regions and go away. And as they run, as they complete, we'll keep monitoring the messages to trigger for us what actions should we be taking in order to keep things moving ahead. Now, I do wish, one comment I could make is I do wish the game had a little bit better kind of way for me to see the messages and to eliminate the messages I've already seen, right? I'd love to be able to say, okay, I've read, that's red, that's red, that's red, and get rid of them, because trying to keep them, a bunch of them going like this, it's very difficult to know which messages you responded to and which ones are new. Even if when you go down to the bottom and scroll up from the bottom, it's still difficult to tell exactly what have I acted upon, what have I ignored. So I would like to see a better way of doing that, where you kind of mark off your red messages or delete them or whatever, so that they're not there staring you in the face. And then, of course, the other side of that too, when you load a new file, the messages are completely gone. So if there were messages there that were important to you that you should have been reading or acting upon, you're not going to be able to, and that could create some issues. But anyway, this is what we're going to try to do. I don't think a lot of people play like this. I think most people, build a town and build it up big, and that's the easiest way to play. And maybe that's the best way to play. But we're going to experiment and see how we can do by having a whole bunch of stuff on our plate, if you will. So I'm not going to comment so much on stuff like this where you've seen these builds before. We're going to keep using that same pattern until, well, we're just going to keep using that same pattern. I'll put it like that. We're going to keep building the little sets with the veggies and the chicken coops or goats pens in between, and keep expanding our villages that way. Now, there's good and bad to all this. One of the bad here is that we're spreading out our vegetables, chickens and stuff, across the region. It's going to be difficult for the granary to keep up with them. It's not super efficient. It's not meant to be. It's meant to look organic and just look like, growth, right? Now here I'm seeing that woodcut is really in kind of a bad spot. So I decided to we got 2 woodcutters and they're not in great spots. This one I think is in a spot where it could really get to very little wood. So we're going to move it over here near that clay mine, that clay pit, so that it'll be in a better spot to cut wood. Again, we're kind of spread out with that too. And, if we were trying to min-max this, we would have a totally different design. But I think this village, I like Emmenruth. I like how it looks. I like how the roads come together. I like the farming in it, the veggie gardens all through it. I like it. So we need more barley. So I'm going to set up this whole set of our initial fields we set up way back when are going to be eventually converted to all barley, so that we're just growing barley through these .6 Morgan plots here. And really the barley is going to be for Eichenau. So we're going to build enough barley for Eichenau with that farming. And the plan is to take Waldbrand and turn it into a lot of barley, and maybe even turn it into a lot of ale, which we will just export the ale. That might be easier than, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how we want to go with that. But anyway, you look at it, there's going to be a lot of barley farming in Waldbrand, and there's going to be a fair amount of wheat farming here in Eichenau. So to that end, I'm going to set up another set of farms right here. We're using the heavy plow in Eichenau, so I want to have plenty of oxen, and I want to have plenty of hitching posts or stables near each of the farmhouses. So going to go through and order another ox and try to make sure we have plenty of oxen here, and because again, we want to have one assigned to each farmhouse, and really we could use two. We could have two families doing the plowing and get it done even faster. I don't think it's really necessary. They don't seem to have any trouble getting done in plenty of time. But we'll probably play with that and probably put a stable next to each farmhouse with two oxen, and have two families in each farmhouse, and have two oxen assigned, dedicated to each farmhouse, so that we can make them very efficient, and they'll have no trouble keeping up with what they're trying to do. So I'm looking at each of the two bigger ones, Eichenau and Newslow, and saying I want 72 families. 72 families times 2 adults is 144 potential recruits. 144 potential recruits. it happens to be 4 full militia units. So I want to get to 4 full militia units at least in Emmenruth and New Slow, and we'll probably keep pushing it and keep going for more. But right now the goal is to build it up to 4. So I'm kind of looking at the goals of these as keep them all running, continue to work up our trade. Think about, for example, when we get Waldron kind of stable, and I don't consider it totally stable just yet, but when it's totally stable, we're going to get really heavy into the barley farming, as I've said, and start shipping that off to other regions, that and/or malt and/or ale, and provide entertainment for the rest of the villages. But I really want to think of that 72 as my next goal for the two of the villages, the bigger ones. Walbrand, its first goal is probably going to be like 36, which would be two recruit. I don't know why that's so hard for me. 2 militia units. Now, what I'm trying to do here is make sure that I rally these troops in their own region and then send them. And that was just, that had to be a defect right there. The New Slow retinue popped up in Eichenau. That's just flat out wrong. But anyway, what I was trying to say was I'm trying to rally them in their own region, a short distance away, because of that running. But because we've seen that weird behavior where they go out and do that little dance where their banner and the troops are separated from each other, I think that has to do with the rallying. And once they're done rallying, you don't get that error anymore. I think I've said this before. So I'm trying to really get in the habit of rallying the militia and the retinue in their home base nearby, and that way if they run, so what, then we just, once they've rallied, then we'll set them to walk and have them walk where we want them. Now, if you haven't figured it out, what we're doing here is we're going to send our entire army to Eichenau, and we're going to go out and recruit all the mercenaries that we can and send them toward Eichenau and try to have kind of a setup so that we have strength there, and then we're going to claim Eichenau. And then if our rival wants us to fight us out for it, then fine, we're already there. Come and join us, and we'll be happy to have it out with you. So here's what's happening. We got 4 mercenary units. We're marching those toward Eichenau. All of our troops are heading toward Eichenau as well. And again, we're going to gather there and claim Eichenau. And we're going to wait until most of them are pretty much there, because I think it's a little weird, but the AI army will come from wherever. I mean, it could come from right there at Eichenau, or it could come from way across the map over where his 2 regions are. I kind of feel like they should come from closer to him, particularly the retinue. He sent his retinue from the opposite side of the map. I don't think that makes sense, but it's what it is. So we're going to be ready no matter where he comes from. We're going to have our troops up there in pretty decent shape so that we can react to whatever he does. Now, I don't like that message, family out of food, but I also think that might have been one of the troops out there marching. I'm not sure what the deal was there. I do know that food in Waldbrand is quite low, and in Waldbrand we do have some headspace. There's 28 available places, so I'm going to try to have. I was trying to figure out. I want to get some. It's March now. I want to get some berry picking going, and what I decided to do was have the next family come in, start picking berries. The one after that needs to build, because we need to keep creating more burgage plots that are available to be moved into, or we won't be, or we'll stun our growth. And we don't want to stun our growth. We're trying to aggressively grow all the regions. Now, I could have waited even longer to make that claim and then let everybody get there, but also you're trading that off against our workers are out here fighting, right? I love that mechanic in the game. Our militia is out here fighting, right? And if they're fighting, they're not working. We've got the women back home trying to do all the work, which means that we're basically at 1/3 of our capacity in terms of labor in all of our regions. So we don't want that to last forever. So we want to get this battle over with. So we're going to set up kind of your basic militia, spear militia wall. That's going to become like a little fort, and we're going to put our archers in behind that. We're going to put our men-at-arms type of troops on the flanks to protect our flanks, and we're going to hope that the enemy just charges right into the wall of our fort. He'll have archers shooting at him. He'll be impaled by our spears, and everything should be great. And there's not a lot to say about the battle here. The controls, a little clumsy, but I'm not sure how I would suggest to make them any better. Other than what I've said before, I wish we had some just default formations. We could say, okay, I want all my troops, and I want to gather them in a basic spearmen, archers, men-at-arms type formation, or whatever. Whatever the classic ones are. I'm just moving that retinue over there to make sure I've got somebody in the official battle area, which is a little to the right. And now I'm going to move him back because the battle has started and we've got our troops lined up and he's not going to be able to resist coming at us. So we're going to make sure we have our retinue lined up right behind our spearmen. We're going to take our archers and line them up in a good position where they can get off some good shots and be safe. You got to keep your archers away from the enemy melee because they just will not stand up to that kind of damage. But here we go. This is perfect. He's charging us. Now he does have 2 units charging us kind of to the south there. That's not perfect, but on the other hand, and that was a goof. I meant to have them stand ground already. We're going to have this fourth spear unit protect our flank because there was a group that was trying to circle around us. We've really got more power here than we need down here on the lower right flank. And you can see up there there's one archer group left behind. So I'm going to send one of the mercenary infantry units running over there into the left woods. And we're going to make sure we turn this one, and I did it backwards there, do it the right way. We're going to turn this one spear militia to protect our flank so that those brigands can't come in and get on our archers. But the truth is we actually have another retinue line here. And you can see, look at that, we broke his retinue, we broke those 2 lines that were charging us. We've got our spear militia, our first class now with the good armor and all that. And here we go. Those brigands actually broke as soon as they made contact, and we've already got groups chasing down his archers. So this is looking awfully good. We had those mercenaries run in there. They're a little weak. They actually lost a few of them, but that's a shame. And sorry that's so loud, but it's actually sounds louder than that when I'm playing. So there we go. Another victory, another region claimed. And we lost, looks like we lost one. Let's see, we lost 6. Yeah, we lost 6 of our New Slow Spear Militia. We lost 1 retinue from New Slow. And that's it. And then the rest of it, well, we lost 1 militiaman, one mercenary. So now I'm going to try to get the right units to go back and get them to return to their home base so that we can send them all back to work and just let everybody rest. We've got 8 days until we have to pay again. And this seems to work out beautifully. If you grab those troops, get them into the battle quickly, dispatch the enemy in a hurry, you can just kind of, okay, we'll pay you for 1 month. We appreciate your coming on board, and thank you for your service. So now we're just going to kind of disband all the units now that they're back in their homelands, and they can all get back to work. And these guys are getting tired. They're not moving very fast. Just go back to work. You're tired, go back to work. There we go. Now we got everybody back. We have added Eichenau to our list of kingdoms, if you will. And we're going to replace that one retinue that we lost. And that brings us all back to full speed. Full strength. All right, so I'm just planning out how to build Eichenau, and we've got this beautiful, rich animals, rich berries. Food should not be a problem, and we just need to set up some sort of reasonably intelligent build here that's going to work. Now, I'm taking the corpse pit here and just dragging it around. I'm just looking for spots where we cannot build. I want to find there's some steep area over there, but it's all pretty good. A little bit back in here behind that. But we can build on the clay, we can build on the iron. The stone won't be a problem any way you look at it. There's a little bit of steepness there, we'll call it to the southwest as we're looking at it, and the relative southwest. And we're going to just set up a road that goes out to our berries and our game, partially circle the wild animals here, and we'll set up, we'll look to see what. Well, now we know. Sorry. Now we've got to get our settlers camp, and I'm looking at that -2. I don't know what that is. We somehow our king's favor is -2. It was -1, I remember, some time ago. So I don't know what we're doing to irritate the king, but fortunately, it doesn't seem like we're irritating too much. And I think the simple fact is that functionality really doesn't exist yet, so not to worry about it, I don't think. So let's go. We've got some supplies, so let's get our granary and storehouse down. We'll make the granary slightly higher priority, and interestingly enough, turn off the market stall capability just in case of a mistake. It's too early to run these out of the granary or storehouse to markets. Okay, so let's get that food picked up. And here's an interesting thing. We actually do have some corpses that are on the battleground, and makes sense. A lot of people were killed during that battle. Thankfully, a lot of enemy. Started to put it up there and realized, wait, the battle was way down here. Let's build it down right next to where the main battle was. And then make the storehouse just a little higher priority. Get 2 people in there and get those supplies picked up, and double check our bread pickup, and there's still some on the ground. So let's keep going we'll keep 1 person on there to keep picking up the bread. Clear a couple of families to do other work. There, we got 20 bread, perfect, we got it all. Beautiful. And we're still picking up the supplies. I really like the music in the game. I'm really getting sick of the music in the game. It's just true. I really like it. I've enjoyed it, but man, oh man, you can only listen to that same do 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 so many times. There are so many games where I end up turning the music off. I do need it though. I know I've had multiple conversations about this, but I'm not recording in this is not, Universal Studios here. This is my study. There are other people here. There's noises around me. There's actually the downstairs toilet is like 12 feet behind me. So I need the background noise. I really do. So that's why we just keep the music. And thankfully, I haven't gotten copyright violations on the music. I'm so glad of that.
Let's go, people.
So, well, let me say it like this. That corpse pit notwithstanding, we're going to try to follow our process as well as we can. We've got the lumber camp. Now we want to get a hunting camp. And we want to get the hunting camp, since we're building it out here away from we're not using the central build idea here. This is an easier one because we've got starting supplies. This is much easier than a no supplies kind of build. So what we're going to do is just build out here near the animals, and we'll give it a little one stall marketplace that the hunting camp can run a market stall right next door to itself, and and stay efficient, running our food for us early until we're ready to get a granary actually up and running. So we're just going to set up an initial cutting area for that logging camp away from the berries and the wild animals, and now we can see we're starting to get a count for the burial that's going down. It looks like it's down to 8. That's good. So, and there, it has disappeared. The count has disappeared. And I'm just checking to see if anything has happened in any of the other towns that would tell me, hey, you need to go over here and see. The storage pit full for saw, I don't care. The burgage plot pantry full, actually don't care. That just means we probably got more veggies than we can gather up, and right this minute I don't care. And when I say I don't care about that, I do care. It's not a priority item right now. There's bigger fish to fry. So now we've got our hunting camp. It's got a market stall. We're going to go out and set up our wood cutter, make sure we got somebody to do the building, and these guys are done, it looks like, so we can blow up that corpse pit. So we'll get this thing going, give it a work area. This is the wood cutter. Alright, they got a nice big stand of trees to cut in. They'll have no problems. And we will give them a one stall marketplace. There we go. And I think I go back and double check. Yes, I want to make sure that the one over here has been built first. There it is. Good. There's a food stall already built, being run by the hunter, so that means we're free to leave that one alone and let the woodcutter go. And there you can see the woodcutter's already starting to build the market stall. So now we're going to place our tannery. We're going to put it near our eventual hardware storage system, right? Our warehousing area. Tax has gone up again. Yeah, we don't care. We're looking good here. We're gathering tax money. That's not a problem. So now for the tanner, I don't need to give it its own stall. It's right there. It can just use these stalls that we're going to eventually use for the larger village as we develop it. Alright, so now we have a tannery. It will create its own market stall. Now we want to build our housing, just following our process. And I want to use that same setup. It's getting a little boring, but I'm going to use that same setup of four plots on the inside, surrounded on both sides by veggie plots. we go. There's our 4. And now we'll build our 5th one. There we go. So that's all the houses we need, and I am going to deviate ever so slightly here and go ahead and build the other end of that, which actually technically 6 houses, but look at our approval. It's very good. When you have the supplies, the game is just a lot easier. So we'll just take advantage of that and go ahead and build out another potential veggie garden out there, and have ourselves 6 houses, so we can, as soon as we're ready to grow, we've got the head count for it. And I want to get another ox ordered so things will move more quickly. So we're going to order an ox and build another hitching post and move the original hitching post over to a more convenient location. Now, if we were in the winter and it was a harder start without the extra supplies and stuff, we wouldn't do anything with the hitching posts until we had our houses built, and we wouldn't have any money, so we wouldn't be able to even order the ox anyway. Now, I'm just looking at these messages to see if there's anything I need to really act on. We've got full berry gathering forager huts out there, and that's a little bothersome. Would like to be getting more of that into the granary. May have to look into another granary for Nuslo soon enough. We're also not seeing the logging coming because we set up those forester camps and they're too slow. And there's some lag. Got a little lag there moving that, and I noticed. I think we're going to get lag again when we move this one. We've got quite a bit going on this map now, and moving those seems to be a big deal. It has to think about where was I, where am I going through, what am I, where am I going to, what am I, all that stuff. So we're going to relocate both those, and we're going to have to pay attention to that so that we don't hold up things in Nuslo by not having any timber coming in. Because if we move them and then forget to restaff them, then we're not going to be getting any bang for our buck, so to speak. So again, I wanted to, for a while, I kind of got away from the veggie gardens here, but why? Just keep building. And I wanted to take a look at the leather and see if we could go ahead and do chickens. I know that sounds crazy, but if you have plenty of leather, then you're okay to put in chicken coops. If you don't have plenty of leather, you have to think about making some of those burgage plots into goat pens so that you can get the hides. So here in Eichenau, we've got a situation where we're running 6 market stalls out of that granary. And that slows you down a bit. And in terms of your ability to go out and gather stuff. And we're using kind of a not min-maxed model here, where we've got our veggies and our chickens all over the place, right? We don't have specialized granaries just to pick up veggies or just to pick up chickens or eggs. And we could, we could think about that down the road if we get really big with this village, but I just don't see it as being that big yet. It's 204 people. That's not gigantic by any stretch. Even by medieval standards, that's not very big. At least I don't think so. I'm not sure the average village size in medieval times. That'd be an interesting thing to know. If anybody knows, if any of you are medieval historians or know a little bit about it, put a comment down there and let us know just how big did they actually make these things. And I'm just double checking to make sure we've got a work area that's big enough. Well, I'm sorry. That was actually staffing a forester hut and giving it a work area. And here, I'm looking at that and saying, you know what? We've got forester huts and they're way behind. They're just not fast enough. So let's go out here. Let's build a road out here, further out, like near that iron mine. And let's move our logging operation out there. And there again, a little bit of lag as it made that move. But let's move that logging operation. So we're going to have to watch those, watch the queues for when those are done so we can go back and fix them, because I'm not sitting there and babysitting them. We're moving on to the next guy. So what do we got here? Here we've got a little issue. We've got +3 on builds, but we already have 28 families, right? So there's nobody to do that building. I'm also noticing this woodcutter is kind of in a space where he's got nothing to cut. I'm also noticing we're getting no meat, and look at our hunting. It's full. There should be plenty here. They do seem to be hunting in the right area, and the one thing we saw there is somebody's injured, so they're going to have to heal, and that could be the reason we're not getting meat right this minute. The injury. So what I decided to do is that forester hut thing, great idea, but it's just, right now it's killing us because those people are too valuable. We need them doing other things. So we're going to go in here and make some more housing and keep expanding this and get our housing set up so that we've got, we can keep growing. Remember, that's our goal, is to keep growing and to, well, I don't know what the and to was. Just keep growing. And there I made a conscious decision to let one house not have a backyard work area because of the shape of everything and where the road was. I'm fine with that. We wouldn't necessarily have, goats or chickens or, well, that's about it. Goats or chickens or some sort of artisan shop in every single burgage plot anyway. So I'm okay if one doesn't have its plot. In fact, it'd be fine to build a number of them without the burgage plots if you wanted to kind of consolidate the build, make it a little tighter. Now, here's an interesting issue. We've got, look at all that bread. We've got 50 bread in that pantry, in that baker. And our problem, again, is I think our granary here is overstrapped. So if we're going to go into big-time bread production here because of that bakery, then and we're going to do even more. We may even have extra bakeries. We're going to need plenty of support from granary workers to get that bread out into the market and also get it into storage. And we're going to start getting it to our pack stations so that our pack stations can barter with the other regions and carry that bread other places. So if we're going to do big time bread production, we need to have a reasonably efficient operation. So here I double checked on the forager hut and I realized this is the same thing. We just need more granary support in order to keep this stuff functioning. We can't even pick all our berries because we don't have enough granary support to pull the berries out. And we could, of course, alternatively build more forager huts and use them like storage and move our people around. But again, doing so many regions, we got so much micromanagement, so many. It's not really micromanagement, but there's just so many things that we have to do in every region that I really want to have enough granary workers that I don't have to be going back there every 5 minutes and building another forager hut or moving the foragers around to another hut or any of that kind of stuff. So I got to watch for these logging camps getting finished. That's the one we just did. Again, I'd love to be able to knock these off and say, okay, I looked at this one, I looked at this one. That would be excellent. I've seen that in a lot of other games. I'd like to see it in this one. Okay, now this one is finished, and we can make sure that he has a reasonable work area. All right. Okay, there's the granary. So the first thing we're going to do naturally, rather than use it, is upgrade it. We want it bigger so that we can put more people in it, basically. I don't think the storage will matter, but the storage is not as much an issue as how many people you can have working in it at one time. You can hear that barrage of ka-clunk, ka-clunk, ka-clunk. That's a good thing. That means we're building stuff all over the place. Now that wall brand Forster side, I don't really care. We're just going to leave it. We don't have enough mass to really do the foresting yet. So we'll not worry about that. You know, I was just thinking, what if we just simply had... And here's that problem again. It's showing me Wallbrand. I'm not in Wallbrand. I'm in Eichenau. So I had to go out and come back, and it's just that needs to be improved. But what if we just had a single button that said delete all messages?
I'll go deaf from all that hammering.
Because when you reload, they delete anyway. You know, if I were to save this and reload, all the messages would go away. But I'm sure not going to do that as my mechanic to get clear of my messages. That would be very tedious. But it would be neat if it just, I mean, a really simple fix would just be a button that said delete all events or messages or whatever they call those things there. And I'm willing to accept responsibility that I don't want them there anymore. You know, the ones that have been there, I want them gone, and then the next ones can show up, and then I would know I've got new stuff to look at. That would be, I would like that very much. Now we've got our granary updated, or upgraded. We're going to put some staff in it. We're going to turn off pretty much everything except the in-product food and the flour. And we're going to accept flour up here because we've got our bakeries are near the granaries. So we do want the flour coming up here. And I think another thing we're going to look into is moving our windmill up here closer to the action. Since we're kind of this is being redone now. We originally set it up as a temporary with the communal oven, and now we're moving to the bakery extensions in the cities, in more like in downtown. And we need to get that windmill closer to be more efficient, really to take a burden off of our granaries. Okay, we've leveled up Eichenau, and I really don't remember what I picked. I know what I wanted to pick. Oh, yeah, I remember. I wanted to take honey. I really want to show you the honey. But we've got strong berries and strong hunting. And I think I'd like to just accent those so that those could be potentially things that we send off to other regions, right? We could trade berries, give berries away, barter berries for weapons and stuff, particularly the meat. The meat seems to be really hard to get for everybody. So wild animals here, if we can keep the hunting efficient and keep getting, keep going down that path, then Eichenau will basically feed people berries and particularly meat, maybe even skins. I don't know. Probably not. Probably what we'll do is sell some berries maybe barter some berries, certainly barter some meat to our other larger towns, and get back weapons and stuff. And there, I finally bit the bullet and just said, "Oh, let's just double up on those berries, and then we'll go down the hunting path as well, and have some really strong food. And if we, and maybe we'll do my beloved honey later. I don't know." And I'm trying to decide, do I want to go ahead and start planting veggies? But I decided no, but I do want to go ahead and build. And that was a departure. I kind of goofed a little there. I really want to build a church, and I kind of forgot my own process there. So shame on me. Shame on me. But don't worry, I'll come to my senses here very, very shortly. Yes, I've realized I don't even want those things queued up yet. As tempting as they may be, we need a church. So let's get a saw pit going, and let's get a church. And we finally were able to order the other ox, because our builders finally got those hitching posts moved and the new one created. There we go. Let's get our saw pit, construction reserve of 5 to make sure we have 5 timber left to build the church, and let's monitor this until we have 20 planks. We have the 10 stone because we did have some starting supplies, so we don't have to do go out and gather stone step. We can skip that one and just wait till we have planks. And we can see the oxen bringing the timber there to be cut, so this should not take very long. There we go, got it. So we're going to queue up a church, put it close by so that we can build it quickly. Decide to just run it so that its road was just kind of lined up with that intersection right there. Take our workers off the logging camp and the saw pit and send them to building a church. And I wanted to take a look to see where the well will go, and right back there is just fine. We'd like to have it right here next to the church, but you can't have everything. We want to get a trading post. It's got to be an economically viable village, and we need the money to do our gardening and chicken coops and all that good stuff. So we want to get the trading post going, and we do want to get some berries. We really, really do. And I'm just going back through the messages to see what I've missed. Doesn't look like much of anything. And I do want to see if we've cleared up. I want to see if we can't just tithe some more. If we're going to make all that bread, let's gather up some more influence through heavier tithing in Emmenruth. And New Slow, not so much. Now they're not getting, they don't seem to be doing a great job. And this is, why is that person out there guiding an ox? I mean, come on. We have unassigned families to do that. That part of the mechanic I think could use some improvement. Why would the hunting family be guiding an ox? Now maybe they started that work when we'd hit our animal limit, and they haven't gotten back yet. Let's just say that's what happened. But if it isn't what happened, that needs to be improved, I believe. And there's that magic road that just keeps coming back. I'm almost sick of deleting it at this point. Kind of decided I'm just going to leave it. Again, remember, we're trying to get to 72 houses here. And I started to build the veggie one first and realized, no, that's not how you do it. You scoot over a couple, then you build your regular size plots. And not a double wide, but a regular size plot like that. There you go. And then you can build your veggies around that if you had more timber. So Newslow's doing just fine, continuing to grow, hanging in there. I mean, we could have more food, we could have more everything, but it looks good. It looks good. It's doing its thing, making a lot of weapons that we can use all over the place. Oh, I had a question for the group. Do you guys use more than one trading post? Have you tried that, and does it work? The thing that concerns me about more than one trading post is, do we know for sure that the trading post that has what you have that you want to trade, that the trade route for that item will go to that particular trading post? Because the trading post can't, I know this much, you can't control the trading. Oh, here we go. I gotta stop that thought. We gotta go back to this thought. See, this guy's hunting out here. What has happened here is somehow this has gotten corrupted so that the animals probably should have migrated. And our hunters are acting like they have migrated. They're out here hunting them out here. See, out here, that's where they were hunting. And we want to move them to a spot that's more convenient. Right there, it's not bad, but we're kind of cutting timber there, or firewood, so no. Where did you end up? Can't find you. No, that could work. That could work. We could just run it out there. We'll just start hunting out there, because somehow, some way, that got messed up, and our hunters were hunting in the wrong spot, and that's just not going to cut it. I believe that's an improvement opportunity, but we'll build a new hunting camp out there and hunt that way, because we were just getting almost zero meat in Waldbrand. And we have encircled the area where the hunting was, and it very well could be that it could be that the animals wanted to migrate, but the site wouldn't migrate because it was encircled. I don't know. Is that it? Well, that's not true, because we just forced it to migrate. So I don't know what the problem was. But our hunters were hunting where they thought the game was. The game was someplace else. Either that or the game really was out there. Any way you look at it, we needed to move the hunting ground, and we needed to put our hunting camp in a more convenient location. So let's get some other food going here for Waldbrand. Let's get some chicken. They're making some money now. Let's use that money to get chickens. If we need a few, we'll get some goats. Remember, we don't have a strong animal deposit here, so we'll throw in some goats and some chickens and make this area a lot more stable, really. Okay, why don't we think about wrapping up right here? we're going to take a look at the castle planner. I think, we're able to go ahead and commit and build the full 24. And that's a comment. Hold on, I've got to go look up who made that comment. Okay, it was Sarcasm Detector who made the comment that the game will give you credit for more troops, more retinue. I mean, it just gets out of sync. It'll give, say you got 24 when you're building the manor house, not when it's completed. You're building that garrison tower, not when it's completed. And it does the same thing sometimes with the housing when you get weird data on how many families you can support and that kind of stuff. So anyway, thank you, Sarcasm Detector, for that comment. No sarcasm intended. And let's do wrap up here. We've pretty much gotten Eichenau into a nice state now. It's got a well, it's got a church, it's got food sources, it's set up to grow, it's got positive approval now. We dealt with those corpses that we left there as we kind of took the bloody route for conquering new lands, but we've managed all that. Now we can set up, since we have some timber, we can set up our forager huts and start getting those beautiful berries in and feeding our folks with those, and then life will be good. So I enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed watching. I hope there was something here that helped you in your gameplay. I hope you'll like, comment, and subscribe. And again, I do think you owe me a comment. You owe me a like if you've watched it this far. And hopefully we'll see you again on our next Manor Lords video. Thank you.